But what happens is a lot of us, like Phil brought up, I think it's an excuse for people that have given up on their dreams or that don't want to go all in. They don't want to go all in on their business. They don't want to go all in on their marriage. They don't want to go all in on their kids. And so they use that work-life balance as justification.
Welcome to the Success Flow Podcast, where our mission is simple: to be better each day and relay our findings with other relentless humans defining success for themselves. If that sounds like you, let's begin.
Jason Payne, man, we got a great guest for you today. All you listeners out there, I've got a high energy serial entrepreneur doing big things here in the Phoenix area. And he just won Best Roofer in Arizona by Phoenix Magazine, doing big things. And State 48 Roofing is the name of the company. And it was just started like 3 or 4 years ago, not too long ago. I can't wait to dive into the backstory here, Jason. Thanks so much for jumping on and joining Phil and I on the Success Flow podcast. How's it going, brother?
Dude, Phil, Steven, pleasure is mine, man. Here to help, here to serve, and add value and educate, my man. Let's do it.
I want to hear how you got your start. You and I go way back to, 5-6 years ago. We met at BNI Networking Group, and you didn't have State 48 going, right? You were in the roofing business for a long time. I think you got some family ties as well. And then you launched State 48. You're like, screw it, I'm going on my own. I can do this better, and I can come out on fires. And that's exactly what you've been doing. So take us back a little bit and kind of how you got your start, got into the industry, and what you're up to with State 48.
Yeah, so I've been in the roofing industry for 14 years, and but I worked for my uncle for about 8.5, and climbed the ladder, as they say, and wanted to do more. Wanted a piece of the pie of the business, and he said no, it's his retirement. And so I said okay. I left, and power of relationships. I brought all those relationships with me, and I started doing outside sales for roofing, and I did 1.8 million in 12 months, all self-lead generated in 2018. The contractor I worked for loved me because his marketing expense with me was literally zero. So
yeah, for sure.
And then, yeah. So that, and then I did some side stuff and to bootstrap this, and then my now COO Dory, my wife, and a 2-man crew. We started it from scratch, August 1st of 2019, with a goal to get to 10 million. And I can proudly say that in 4 years, we did 10.7 last year in 2022. So
that's huge,
about
man.
three and a half, just shy of 4 years. About 3.5 years we hit it. So next goal is 25 mil.
That's super impressive. And this is our first time meeting, but that's the beauty of the modern day, and specifically podcasting. And I obviously did a deep dive, and what I love is someone with a sales background that is really creating, and you are doing that at about as high level as you can. So love that. I'm just doing some digging in the back, preparing for today, and you had a number of things that stood out, but I loved your 2 rules for your salespeople: just show up on time and don't be a dick. And I chalk that up to work hard, be kind, which is something that my family was adamant about. I loved that. Can you talk about those fundamentals and how it builds kind of a culture for State 48 Roofing?
Yeah, work hard and be kind is like the G-rated version you tell your kids, right? So, but yeah, so that was my biggest thing. I'm like, dude, I was like, you literally will beat out 80% of your competition if you just show. Now, showing up on time means getting your bid out on time, communicating with them, all those. It's not just like show up to the address or to the brick and mortar or to the Zoom call at a specific time. There's more to that. But the general principle is like, be there, right? Be consistent and be there. So show up on time and just be a genuine, raw, real human. Don't be a robot. Don't fake shit, right? Just be real, raw, and just be who you are. That way you're never out there like be a con artist and try and wear all these different avatars. Just be who you are. Like, I'm the same at my house, with my kids, on this podcast, at BNI with Steve, in my roofing company, my consulting business. Like, I'm the same dude through and through. It doesn't matter. And when you do that, people will see through that. the biggest thing that, like, don't be a dick is we want to help people, right? And we help people via, like, Steve does it via payroll. I do it via roofing or consulting. Like, we want to provide a solution to the problem. Like, the point of this podcast is to what? Help people find that nugget to solve a problem. That's the only reason for this podcast. We're not doing it for the fame, the million likes, going viral, any of that shit. It is literally that someone's going to hear this that has a problem in their fitness, in their health, with their mental mindset, and then we can provide a solution with our experience between the three of us. We can provide a solution that will help them become the best version of themselves and reach their true potential, and that's what we're all about.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. I think you said it or someone else said, you can't help anybody if they don't know who you are, right? And if you're out there, helping people in the service-based industry and you're not in front of them all the time, and as a sales master as you are,
Sure.
but also personal branding, right? Like the podcast is a great way to get out there and talk about the things that you're wanting to talk about, not only just in general in life and mindset you talk about, but also your business. I remember there was one time we grabbed coffee, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was not a social media guy that I am now in this year. And you're like, dude, Steve, you need to get on Reels and you need to get on these shorts and YouTube and all this stuff. And I was like, dude, I post like one picture a month of my kids and that's about it. And you're like, trust me, I've literally built my entire persona and my business off of relationships based on me being out there in front of people, and whether it's attracting the people that want to jump on your tribe, and you do that extremely, extremely well. And I think that's a big reason why you've been so successful so quickly.
Yeah, so like I said, I started doing social media in 2010 when I didn't even know what Reels weren't even a thing, right? Instagram hadn't even created Reels in 2010. But I have just over 6,000 posts since 2010, which is, apart from stories and Reels, that are equivalent to, it's basically one a day. So you hear 6,000, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so much. It's so overwhelming. How'd you do that? And they're all from my phone, all from this iPhone right here, all of them. So I don't have like a media agency or any crap like that. It's literally from my own iPhone. But the biggest thing is just being consistent, right? And the term that you were looking for, Steve, earlier is it's from Grant Cardone. If they don't know you, they can't flow you. And a lot of us might be really good at social media. We might be really good at social media, but they don't know what we do. Or we might be really good at generating, creating, and developing relationships, but they don't know what we do. Right? So you post these cat videos and you and your spouse on vacation, and I know your kids are avid about baseball, all these baseball games, cool. I can't cut you a check for payroll if I don't know that you own a payroll business. Right? Like, what do you want me to do? Like, buy hot dogs for your kid's baseball team? Right? Like, what do you do that I can help? And that's what it comes down to. Some people are so scared to promote their business, but Grant Cardone talks about promote, right? And there should be nobody in your business that promotes your business more than yourself. Plain and simple. As a small business owner.
That's huge. And I think that when we talk about people that are early in this stage, a lot of people are hung up on this work-life balance. And not to say that those personal things don't matter, but we talk a lot about here about work-life integration. And that goes back to authenticity, right? Which you are living day in and day out. Building in public, who you show up as is the same in all those realms, which brings a lot of personal peace. What would you say to somebody that is, dragging their feet on getting out there and putting their personal brand or what they're doing in their work and life out to public? What would you say is a starting point to those folks? Really bare minimum if they're hesitant.
So true story, I almost got divorced about 6 months ago. And most of that was because I tried to separate my work and my business life. And I thought it was going to be good. I was told that was the right thing to do, and that all the big cool guys and the 8 and 9 figure earners do it. And then I realized that doesn't work. And I still want to be married, still want to have a family. And there is no balance. I call it work-life extremisms. That's what I call it. Because what happens is when you're at the baseball field with your kids, be the best dad and the best baseball coach. Don't be a payroll guy. Don't be a roofer when you're on that field. Be the dad. Be the coach. And when you leave there and you go to work, don't be the dad. Be the business owner, right? So the extremism, like when I'm at work right now, like nobody can get a hold of me. This thing's probably beeping, vibrating, screaming at me from emails to phone calls, text messages. But guess what? I am intentional right now on this podcast nothing is going to get in my way. What if I was like, oh, hey, hold on, guys, I'm on a podcast. Hey, yeah, what's up? About the roof? Yeah. Or, oh, hey, babe. Yeah, I'll pick up the groceries tonight. Like, it's a distraction, right? But what happens is that's how I believe. I don't believe that when you go home, you should be on your phone and you should be doing work stuff. I don't believe that. But what happens is a lot of us, like Phil brought up, I think it's an excuse for people that have given up on their dreams or that don't want to go all in. They don't want to go all in on their business. They don't want to go all in on their marriage. They don't want to go all in on their kids. And so they use that work-life balance as justification, right? And that's how I see it. Like, I believe that if you're going to be at date night, be on date night. Don't be watching football. Don't be doing stupid stuff. Don't be on your phone. Like, be intentional with your spouse at date night. She doesn't need it for 6 hours. There's no 6-hour date nights, at least not that I know of, unless it's a vacation, right? But like, she wants 1 to 2, maybe 3 hours. Maybe go shopping, maybe get a pedicure, go get dinner, go get some drinks, and that's it. And it's only once a week. Your wife wants you for 1 to 3 hours exclusively, all about her and nobody else. Not even the kids. Nobody else. So be laser focused on what you're doing. When you're on your business, work on your business. Be laser focused with your business. Because if you try to be everything to everyone, you're going to be nothing to anyone. Right? Plain and simple.
Bamboo banger right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head, being able to kind of compartmentalize some of that stuff. It's not easy to do, but I believe it's accomplished by practicing mindfulness, right? If you're not focused, if you're not healthy, if you're not happy, you're not going to be able to make an impact on anybody, right? So you kind of got to focus on yourself a little bit and be selfish in that way. It's not really selfish, but if you're not happy, you're not focused, you're not healthy, you can't make an impact on your personal and professional relationships. And so talk to us a little bit about some of the habits. I've seen you do some crazy stuff like 75 hard and push-up challenges through the end of the year that you got going on right now. But talk about some of the habits that you do on a daily basis, not just for 75 days or 2 months or whatever. Like, what are you doing in your routine?
So my routine starts at 5:30 a.m. every morning, and it goes until about 7. 7 o'clock is when I turn into dad mode. And I literally get the peanut butter and honey sandwiches and filling up the water bottles and, hey, go eat your Pop-Tarts or your Eggos or your cereal or your whatever before I take them to school. But from 5:30 to 7 is me time. That's where my personal development comes in, from listening to podcasts, reading books, and I go on a walk, like a 45-minute vest walk every single day, no matter what, whether it's in the morning or the evening. A lot of us, churches don't really do it. School systems definitely don't. Government, forget it. But most people don't talk about personal development and working on yourself first. They just don't.
That is why you're a perfect guest for this podcast. We talk a lot about being a business athlete, right? And you just embodied and talked about the habits that are outside of the physical, which you've got nailed down. I know that I'm getting from the research I've done on you, you were influenced by Andy Frisella, St. Louis guy that I really like, founder of 75 Hard. You can see it that you're living that. And those are the things that allow you to show up, again, even though we're not drawing lines between our businesses. If you don't have those fundamentals down, how can you show up even close to 100% in the day-to-day? Is this something that your team is really taken on as well? How are you working that throughout the organization?
So a couple things. One is caught, not taught, right? I forgot who told me that, so I'm not going to take credit for it. But caught, not taught. My team catches me working out. My team catches me listening to podcasts. My team catches me doing push-ups. My kids catch me doing push-ups. You see on my stories, my kids do push-ups with me. I don't ask them to. They just see me. They press in the camera. I get down on my knees and my hands, and they want to get in the video and they want to start doing them. They see me doing that, right? And so that's what it comes down to, is you got to set the example first. And so maybe you need to do that with your spouse. My opinion, the personal development and you're being physically fit. Andy Elliott, a good buddy of mine and one of my mentors, talks about go sell something with your shirt off. You want to go sell payroll? Go take your shirt off and go sell payroll. Go sell a roof with your shirt off, right? Because what happens is we'll hide. The real raw version of us will hide behind a jacket or a hoodie or a shirt. But you take it off, that's the real raw version of you, and you're naked. And that's what I believe. Like, your wife doesn't want to see that. Plain and simple. And neither do we. So
the Harrises fight naked already. So Steven is right now just eliminating his wardrobe and is going to have a super aligned lifestyle now after that tip. That was another bamboo banger there.
Yeah, it's the line was if you're going to argue naked with your spouse, and you won't be arguing too much longer. But I think that goes back to the confidence that you have in yourself, the self-confidence. And when you focus on that personal development, then you are confident. Like, man, now I might be able to go sell some payroll with my shirt off. Like, I don't care, right? And 2 years ago, when I was kind of like in the rut of an entrepreneur and the ups and downs that you go through, yeah, I probably didn't have the confidence to do that. And so don't worry, I won't be going out there with my shirt off slinging some payroll right now. But Jason, you obviously self-branding is a big part of it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, it is, as dumb as that sounds, I'm being serious. Like, if I took my shirt off right now and said, okay, we're going to do this podcast, but all three of us have to have our shirts off and do it the entire time, like, do you immediately like, holy shit, that's embarrassing, or I'm embarrassed? Or is it like, cool, not a problem, I'm down, right? That is the self-confidence. Andy Elliott preaches out like crazy. When it comes to sales, empathy and then self-confidence in yourself. Having empathy for the consumer, the client, and then having that self-confidence in yourself. Self-confidence is everything, because if you're confident about yourself, that energy will bleed into anyone you're talking to, teaching to, speaking to, coaching, helping, selling. It'll go to that, because if you don't believe in yourself, I sure as crap am not going to believe in you, plain and simple.
Yeah, they got to believe that you believe it, right? And it doesn't even, same with like public speaking. Half the time they don't remember what you said, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And if you don't believe in what you're talking about, it's very challenging for them too. And I've seen you with your shirt off, Jason Payne. We ran into each other at the Princess, a little staycation over the summer. And you're a fit dude, so you got all the confidence in the world. So all the 100 push-ups and things you do every day. But I wanted to ask you, so you are very strong in this area of self-branding, if you will, and self-confidence and all that, and caught not taught. I love that. I've never heard that spelled out that way. I've made a note there to use that from time to time. But how do you – I also know your team. Right? Like Afton and your salesman, you've got the redheaded roofer, you've got the bearded roofer, right? So they're all self-branding. It's not even their own business, but they're self-branding themselves for State 48, but they're doing it for themselves as well. Talk to me about the things you've seen and the positive impact that's made by helping your team self-brand themselves and what they're doing in their career.
Yeah, people in small business, now not with Nike. You go to a Nike store, you're not going to talk to Richard or to Megan to buy your Nikes. You're going to buy the brand, right? You're not going to talk to that rep. You're going to buy the shoes. In small business, it's the exact opposite. You're going for the person, not the name of the business. Like, you're not going to State 48 Roofing. You're going to Jason because Jason is going to take care of you, and his business happens to be State 48 Roofing, right? And so what it comes down to is building a personal brand is so important, because it's your reputation is the only thing you will take with you as you go from business to business, career to career. I sell State 48 Roofing. What if I only promoted this and never promoted myself? Then all that reputation would go with that private equity firm or that, the acquisition, and I'm left in the dust with no brand, no reputation. I might have a couple $1 million in my bank account now. Cool. But my personal brand is where I'm at. And my personal brand has helped me get where I want to be, because your personal brand is you. People want to work with people still. Forget COVID, forget all that bullcrap. People want to work with people. And if you can understand that you are your brand, and going back to the redheaded roofer, the COO roofer, Eric the roofer, those guys, I'm helping them build their own brand within a brand. I'm helping them become an entrepreneur. So not if, but when one day, I don't think they're going to be here all for 30 years. I really shouldn't expect to. If they're growing, they should outgrow that position. And unless I turn into a $100 million roofing company, which is definitely possible, they might set up shop for the next 30 years. But if they don't, and they were to leave at one point in time, right, then what happens? They have built that brand that they can carry with them to help them get that next to that next level in their own life. Because personal development is everything. I don't want you just promoting my brand. All of our sales reps have their own name on their shirts. Because when you go and do a sale, you're promoting two businesses. You're promoting your own business, which is your name and yourself, and the company business. We talk about knowing, like, and trust, right? People have to know, like, and trust you. Yes, but what we forget is people have to know, like, and trust your personal brand, and they have to know, like, and trust your business brand. So there's 6 key points. If they don't know, like, and trust you personally, they still might not use the business, right? And if they like you, but they don't know, like, and trust your business, they might not use you because they don't trust the business. They like you as the rep, but they don't like the business. So you have to check all 6 boxes if you want to get the deal. And a lot of us will just focus so much on the business, the business, the business. I'm like, no, show up on time. Don't be a dick. Be a genuine person. Answer your phone, right? Become the best version of yourself. Because people forget you have to sell yourself apart from just selling the business.
Everything that you're saying is hitting home so hard because I am an employee working in technology sales, and we talk a lot about being you said entrepreneur or salespreneur, running your portion of the business like it's your own. And if you have that type of mentality, the outcomes are going to speak for themselves because everything is so on point and moving forward, it solves itself. So that is just spot on for this podcast, as we have quite a few employees listening as well. So taking that as a note's another banger. You've talked in your material, which I love, and again, we'll do my translation, but average sucks, right? There's a guy in the Valley, I think, that has his whole coaching and branding around that term, Michael Burnoff.
Michael Burnoff. Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Love him.
Came to mind immediately when I saw that from you. And I like to say just being terrified of mediocrity. It's on my wall right now, first thing as I enter my office. And I'm curious on, again, you already said the caught not taught might be the same model here, but that can be triggering for people. Well, what's wrong with average, It's relative. Just like the definition of success is relative. How do you go about communicating that mindset of let's not be average no matter where you're falling at this given point in time?
Well, I want you guys to, and you cut me off whenever you want, but tell me when average has ever been okay in anything in life. Do you want to have average sex? Do you want to have an average date night? Do you want to drive an average car? Do you want to go the average 45 miles an hour or the average 65 miles an hour on the freeway? Do you want to have an average steak? Do you want to have an average body? Do you want to have an average mindset? Do you want to have an average relationship with God? Does God want you to be average? Is God average? No. And not getting all churchy or religious on you, but aren't we trying to be like him? So he's not average in anything. He might have average sandals, but that's about it, right? So what it comes down to is we all want to, nothing in life is worth being average. You don't want to have an average haircut or average clothing, right? And a lot of that is, once again, those are excuses or people settling and giving up on their dreams. And so they'll use that average or slow down or take it easy. Do you want to have average sales reps? Do you want to have Journey Payroll, the most average payroll company you'll ever find?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Welcome to State 48 Roofing, where we're going to give you an average roof with average customer service, with average pricing, with average products, and with average. Yeah, I need your initials here, here, and here. Bro, get out of here. Not happening.
Yeah, I think as Phil said, it can be relative, but you pointed out that if you're comfortable, you're probably average, right? And so we've always got to be striving for that growth and challenging ourselves and and expanding our brains, expanding our physicality, and expanding what we're capable of. And that will get you out of that average. So if you're listening in and asking yourself, what's average in my life? If you're comfortable in that area, then it's probably average, right? And it's just continuing to pursue that perception of success and being of excellent, a model of excellence. So Jason, just to kind of pivot a little bit, you do a lot for the community, right? I've seen you cook burritos up. I've seen you do breakfast stuff. I've seen you give back a ton. Water drive. We did a water drive for St. Vincent de Paul. You donated 2 pallets of State 48 waters for St. Vincent de Paul. That was amazing. Thank you for that. But I mean, it goes beyond what I've seen. You guys are an advocate for the community. You give back a ton. So you talk a lot about building strong businesses and building strong brand, but you are a giver, man. So talk about what you do yourself personally and also how State 48 gives back to the community.
Yeah, so one of our core values is give first without expecting anything in return. And I was taught that as a kid, just to serve and serve and serve and give back, give back, give back. As a kid, you don't know why. You just know you need to go help that lady go move her house, or go help her cross the street, or go take her trash cans out, or go mow her yard. And so as a kid, I was raised to do that, but I don't do it for the back end of getting referrals and whatnot. I just think it's the right thing to do. I loved when people would buy those dumb little $20 cards for football that we had to sell 20 of them, But I still can tell you the same 3 people that bought them year after year after year from me, and they just did it because they loved me and they wanted to give back. And I'm terrified. I would never want to be a cop. I don't have the balls for it, to be honest. But I love first responders. I love police, and I love those guys and teachers. Those guys putting their their lives on the line a lot of times for us. And I'm not in that position to do that, but I love those that do. And same thing. I was very blessed to grow up in an amazing family and develop a mindset and a skill set. And I think everybody still can. But those that are maybe on down times, right, or got their teeth kicked in, maybe need some help. So whether it's donating, a blanket drive or a water drive, I've never been without water. I've never been without food. I've never been cold, not like on a camping trip, but I've never been freezing because I'm laying on a piece of cardboard, on the side of a street in downtown Phoenix. And I don't wish that on anybody. So when you can get people around and help them, that's what I'm all about, giving back to the community as much as possible. I know I sponsored your kids' Little League baseball teams, to, like I said, to water, to police and first responders, you name it. We want to give back high school football teams, and we just know that it's the right thing to do. And if we take care of other people, Zig Ziglar's famous quote, right? If you help, how does it go exactly? I'm going to butcher it. If you help everyone get what they want in life, you'll get what you want in life, type deal. And so that's kind of been my mantra.
I love that, and it's just so rewarding, right? There's almost a selfishness to giving back because we're all in this together, and having that mentality that we can share what we have with everyone around us. It just makes this place a much more holistic place to be. On that note, we can't give back until our cups are full, right? So I love something that you shared about, it's a pretty standard thing, but I don't think people take it to heart enough. Is money will not make you happy, but either will poverty. On that note, if you have the option, where we all want to choose prosperity and abundance, so we have that ability to give back and allocate funds where we want to allocate them to make this place better. How has that transformed for you as you've built a business, as you've achieved monetary wealth? Can you talk us through how you've evolved from that perspective and kind of what the genesis of that tweet was?
Yeah, people get it twisted up because once again, they've given up on their goals and their dreams, and they're settling for their own life because they don't want to do the hard shit, and they don't want to go all in on themselves or their marriage or their business or whatever, and they settle. That's in my opinion, that's what it comes down to entirely. I know for a fact I've been broke, and I've been not wealthy, but I've had a couple bucks, and you're absolutely right. Money will not make you happy. Guaranteed 100%. I've had a ton of money and I've been miserable. But you can also, 2 things. 1, you can solve more problems if you have money. You can solve more problems, personal problems, family problems, business problems, if you have money. Number 1. Number 2, if you're going to be miserable, you might as well do it and have a couple bucks in the bank. Plain and simple. Because if it's not gonna matter and you're gonna be miserable, I'd rather be loaded and miserable than broke and miserable, because money has nothing to do with you being happier. Just like you said, it has nothing to do with you being happy or sad or mad or miserable. Cool. Well, then I might as well have commas and zeros in my bank account instead of being broke, right? And being bankrupt or being homeless.
Amen.
And so that's kind of my piece there. And a lot of people have never had true wealth to where they can even stand behind that statement and even be relatable with it. And it doesn't have any merit. It just doesn't, in my opinion. They're like, money. I was like, dude, you're paycheck to paycheck. Like, don't even tell me. You don't even know what, in my opinion, I get really, really frustrated with it. I think it's absolute bullcrap that people bring that up, because a lot of people have never had the wealth. And I know people that help people tremendously financially. For example, I just helped one of our employees get some new teeth. He's had teeth issues for decades, and he's always been self-conscious about it, kind of talking like this. And we got him full dentures. He looks gorgeous, beautiful new smile. And I was able to help contribute a significant amount to that, right? And if you're a solopreneur, amazing. Or if you're a solopreneur, who are you able to bless? I'm going to brag here a little bit. I have 78 employees. I cut 78 checks a month for rent. I pay 78 car payments, right? I mean, just the in the grand scheme of things, it's the analogy, right? Is when you hire people, you can help provide income for other people. People will throw crap against you, but at the end of the day, it's like, I'm helping people. Who are you helping?
Yeah, and you've been in some rooms with some extremely wealthy individuals that you've obviously picked their brains and learned from. One of those, there was an event in January that I attended, and it was the best conference that I've ever been to. And we're going to kind of pivot to what you're doing with your coaching and consulting and events. But before we get to that, you've been in backstage in a room with Ed Milet, with Brad Lee, with Sean Whalen, with some of these massive heavy hitters that a lot of people know about. And they're all super wealthy, but they're all doing big things and giving back and allocating those funds, if you will, to the right places. If you had a nugget from any one of those guys, or all three of them, whatever, that you could share what your experience was like behind the scenes that you're allowed to share, we'd love to hear it.
One of them wasn't. One of them was this past weekend, actually, at the Limitless Arena that the Muscle, his name's Keaton, threw on that I was at, and I was VIP backstage, all the fun stuff. But David Goggins said it from stage. One of our core values is stacking the wins, and he talked. I've never heard it in this way before. We talk about stacking the wins, right, throughout the day, like wake up early, wake up on time, go work out, spend time with your kids, kiss your wife. Work hard, right? You get all these little wins. Those little wins add up to big wins, right? And one of the biggest takeaways I got from just this past weekend was he said, stack the wins, or, get wins before you leave the house. How many of us,
powerful.
Leave the house and we have 0 wins compared to our
up, go to work.
competition, right? Yeah, wake up, go to work. You have 0 wins. Well, what if I woke up at 5:30 and I listened to a podcast and I prayed and I meditated and I got my water and I'm jacked up and I did my push-ups and I'm ready to rock and roll, and I have like rocket fuel in my body, and I have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 wins before I leave the house at 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And you roll out of bed, throw crap on, and go grab a freaking, a thing from Quick Trip and some Monsters, and you roll out, and you have 0 wins. You didn't work out, you didn't kiss your wife, you didn't tell your kids you love them, right? You didn't pray, you didn't read, you didn't meditate, you didn't listen to a podcast. I have 10 wins, you have 0. I just started a quarter mile. We're running a mile for the day. I just started a quarter mile ahead of you before I left my house.
Yeah, that's the mindset shift, right? And especially the best time, I believe, is in the morning, right? You're starting your day, setting the tone for how you operate at efficient level as that business athlete is by focusing on yourself in the early morning, the quiet morning, and getting those wins. I mean, leaving every day when you get in your truck and head out for the day, when you've got a checklist of items of tasks and things that you've done to better yourself and prepare yourself, it's there's nothing like it. It's definitely confidence building, and the sky's the limit when you get to that. So as we kind of wrap up here, Jason, one last thing I wanted to ask you is you've done a lot of things with masterminds and you've done a lot of things with coaching. You're helping other people achieve their perception of success. But what does success mean to Jason Payne?
What does success mean to Jason Payne? I say this every day. Success, in my opinion, is becoming the best version of yourself, reaching your true potential, and doing what it takes to take your business, your family, and your income to the next level. And being successful means being successful in all categories in life. Because a lot of us will kill it in the business world, but we're miserable or we're divorced. We might have an amazing marriage, but I don't talk to my kids, or I don't ever hang out or play with my kids, right? Or you might be an amazing dad and your kids love you, but you're paycheck to paycheck trying to live it on rice and beans, and you're not living the life that God wants you to. So in my opinion, success is a never-ending. I don't have my hat on me, but I have our scale symbol is the number 8. It's an infinity sign. Success is never-ending. Right? Success is always going, and doing those workouts and eating healthy and, becoming the best version of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, financially. And then, but not just that, but then with your spouse, what are you doing to have a 5-star experience with your wife and a 5-star marriage? Right? And there's nothing worse than having the Ed Milets and the Sean Whalens and the David Goggins and the Tim Grovers and hanging out with those guys. That's great. But then you go home and your wife doesn't want to talk to you or doesn't want to see you.
You've got me grinning from...
That is, in my opinion, that's not success. And so that's in my coaching, I teach that. That's why I feel like a lot of people will gravitate more towards my coaching compared to others, because I focus a ton on personal development, but also your spouse and your kids. And in that order, your relationship success is your relationship with you and God and yourself first, then your spouse, then your kids, then your business. And if you ever get those out of order, your life will be out of sync. I've been there. It sucks. You got to realign yourself every day, recommit.
You've got me grinning from ear to ear, because it's this concept that some coaches or gurus say, just focus on one habit at a time and then stack them. There's something to that if you're really just getting started. But this mindset of raise every single aspect at every given time, decision to decision, and just raise every area of your life, and it's really full circle back to that authenticity. How you show up in one place is how you show up everywhere. I just love it.
Yeah, it's my favorite analogy that I use is that, dude, you cannot be at a 1-star personally and give anyone a 5-star experience. If I'm at a 1-star, I can't have a 5-star experience on this podcast. If I'm at a 1-star, I can't give someone 4 more stars and give them a 5 experience with my wife or with my kids or with my business. So that's why you have to wake up and you have to get that 5-star experience with yourself first, and then you can give it to your spouse and your kids and your employees and your clients. But what happens is we'll try and give everything to everybody, and we'll neglect ourselves. And that's where we're flirting in the 1 or 2 stars, and we're going through the motions, and we're miserable, and we're the mediocrity, the average, right? The cruise control. No, I don't even think a Lamborghini car has a cruise control button. It shouldn't, right? And so that's what we want to do, is always have that 5-star experience. But it starts with you internally, and then you can bless the lives of other people along the way.
Jason, this has been fantastic. If this is resonating with the audience, which I'm sure it is, where's the best way they can find you? If they're looking for coaching or roofing or any of the awesome stuff that we've covered today, where's the best ways they can find you, and we'll include them in the show notes.
Yeah, so the easiest way to get to follow me is at Jason the Roofer on Instagram. That'd be the best place to go. And then I also have a podcast called the Sexy Business Status Podcast that talks about roofing, talks about marriage.
I've been on that one.
Yeah, Steve's been on there. Yeah, so that's the best way to go. The Sexy Business Status Podcast. I'm pushing close to 50 episodes on there. So if you want to, a lot of content similar to this is on there, but it's literally just become the best version of yourself and reach your true potential.
Well, I think you just gave us the name for this episode: Sexy Success Flow with Jason Payne. That's the pod. That's a wrap. Thanks again, Jason. We will be back at you next week with some more value.